Hello lovely people, it's Cara here and I am so mad. Welcome back to my channel. Do you know what? I love this time of year because the last time I was in this room filming was at the beginning of the last week's video that you would have seen at least, for the regalia blouse for little Miss So-and-so, and I'm wearing a linen top and I am really hot. And today it is absolutely pouring it down. I can't say that it's chilly exactly, but it's a lot cooler. But we are definitely into autumnal weather. It's so different. And I've just done a quick sound test to make sure that you can hear me above the sound of the rain. So I hope you can, and apologies if that's sort of a constant sound in the background. But today and this week, I thought I'd just do a general catch-up with you, if that's all right. And I think that's going to be the general theme for a few weeks ahead, as I have had the loveliest month. I've done some amazing things, I've seen some amazing people, and of course, I've made a lot of items. And I cannot wait to tell you all about them. So lucky. But the first thing I want to do is to say a massive thank you. Thank you to you for your lovely feedback and well wishes for my lovely little Lara. Lara is my whippet of 13 years. She is our heart, my world, my everything. Obviously the husband, the other dog and daughter, etc. all in the same bubble. But I love her to pieces, and I'm delighted to say that whilst she's never going to get any younger, the antibiotics and the painkillers she's on has made a massive difference to her world. And so we move into a new phase of dog ownership, which is really keeping our elderly dog as comfortable and happy as possible. And she is still fully functioning and all that sort of stuff, so she can still come out on gentle walks with us. She can still she still knows how to go out of the house to do her business and that sort of thing, but she is sadly suffering for some sort of dementia and sort of wanders around and things like that. But we still love her, and I have to share with you a couple of pictures, if that's all right, if I can indulge you at this stage. A new thing is her sleeping on my lap, which she hasn't done since she was really very small. So I'm beyond happy that that is a phase that she's going through right now. So this is my very unglamorous legs in my sort of loungewear, if you like, with both the whippets lying on me, and my heart was fit to burst at this point, especially with what we went through last week. And I think my husband took a picture of me sleeping on the floor right next to my dog-a-log. So again, if it's all right with you, I will indulge you with a picture of that. So mwah to you all for your well wishes. It's been a costly week in terms of heart and pocket, but what can you do? I don't know what you do in these situations. She's not insured. She's 13, third time she's been to the vets in 13 years, and then you discover if you did insure your dog, it doesn't actually cover very much. So that's our decision, and that's sadly what we had to do. But anyway, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you're new here and you're thinking, what? I thought I was dialing into a sewing channel. I can assure you there is way more sewing talk than there is doggy talk. But my gorgeous whippets, couldn't help but add that in. And thank you again for your love and response to that. So, what a month. I just loved it. You know, this has been a Mason Fave period of my life, and I am wearing Mason Fave dress that I am so pleased with. I've got the pattern here. It's actually called the Vipere dress and jumpsuit. In fact, it's La Robe Combi Vipere, and it's actually either obviously a jumpsuit or a dress. Now, I was kindly provided the fabric, buttons and notions for this, and obviously the pattern, by Mason Fave. And I'll be honest with you, okay, when I saw this, I was nervous. A, because of the amount of work in this amazing pattern, but B, it's got a really dropped waist, and I just knew that there was a style that just wasn't going to suit me. And the thought of entering into any kind of alterations in such a wonderful pattern, well, struck sort of fear into my heart, if I'm honest. But and then I was also sent enough fabric to make the dress, which is very kind of them. But I'm actually, although I've got a lot of dresses, and I know I keep talking about this, I'm a jumpsuit person over a dress girl. So I was like further compounded by the fact that I was potentially entering into making a dress that I wasn't sure about. But I needn't have worried, because this dress and this pattern, in fact, Mason Fave in general, are taking my level of sewing to somewhere I could imagined I would have gone. The detail on these patterns is just, well, it's dreamy. And you enter into them thinking, no way, I can't do this. And I'm a frequent sewer. You know this about me. But I have to reassure you that there is nothing that I couldn't achieve in this pattern. And there hasn't been anything I couldn't achieve in any of the complex patterns. Or, I say complex, the increased detail, if you like, because complex actually is the wrong word, because every step of this pattern is, after all, just another step. So I'm going to put a clip of me. I did a little reel, which I'm still quite new to doing, so but I put a reel in of me, and I'm off to a day out in London in this outfit, and I could not have been happier with how this came out. And I think in the footage here you'll see that I've actually also paired this with the Pilar jacket, which I know I've spoken about many times, and I will happily speak about for the rest of my life, which is also how I feel about this dress and also the other dresses I have made from Mason Fave. So if you're sitting there now thinking, I'm not sure this is something that I could enter into, go for it. And if you're also sitting there thinking, I'd like to up the level of my sewing, I honestly think this is the company for you, because everything I've made has come out perfectly. They're all I haven't had to make any adjustments except for this, which I'm going to talk to you about in just a moment. So for me, they've been really true to size. Now I make the size 44. I'll put my measurements here for you once my video has stopped playing. But 44 is 100 chest, which is exactly what I am. A waist is 80, and the hips are 108. So in comparison, I am pretty much into the 44, and this is exactly how this has come out. I didn't make any adjustments to the sleeves. The only thing I did, and I actually brought with me, this is the I'm trying to think. This is the button placket from the centre of this dress. So as I say, if I stand up for you, I'm going to show you. So obviously the dress right now sits my natural waist, which is here. Your natural waist is where you bend, and the dress itself, the waist is an intentional drop waist, and it's a very modern design that I knew wouldn't suit me, but it does. If you look at Crafty Pie, hers is superb, and it suits her really well. So that is where the dress would have sat, and this is the button placket that I took off. So that's where my natural waist is, and that's the bottom of the button placket there. So you can see that is how much I took out. I hope that's making sense to you. So you can see that is where that would have started. So that is where the waistband would have been. I was really quite nervous about doing it. I take my role as ambassador really seriously for any companies that I represent. And I did reach out to Emily and the team of Mason Fave and say, are you okay if I make some changes to this? Because I just know it's going to be something that I'm not going to wear unless I adapt it. Naturally, the response was, oh my word, yes. That is why having your own sewing patterns is so brilliant, because you can do and adapt exactly what you need to in order to make them right for you. And so I did. I was quite nervous about doing it. I did it whilst I was going through the process. So I actually made the dress to the as the pattern had it, and then adapted it afterwards. I hope I've remembered to adapt the pattern for future makes. I actually can't remember at this stage whether I did or not, but I will use that little pattern piece to help me do that. And I'm going to stand up again, I'm sorry about that, but the detail, I mean, these buttons come from Mason Fave, and I hope that the camera is doing that justice of just how awesome this is. I bought this little belt from Amazon, and I couldn't be happier with how that matches. But look, so you've got proper belt loops here, but look at these details. This button has no other feature other than to be exactly that, a feature. But look at these beautiful, I think they call these Paris pockets or something like that. But again, look at that lovely edge on there. And they came together beautifully. You've got a proper button placket here in your cuff. So that's all bound and so on. Obviously there's a button, oh, got a pocket here as well. And then you've got these lovely pleats at the top, which provide beautiful shaping, as well as these beautiful lapels. At the back, you've got, I like the way it's a little bit blousey. I'm sorry you can't see my front right now. You can see there the two pleats, which are on either side, which I can show you again just on the line drawing there. All of that, it's sensational. I did make some mistakes when I was cutting out, so I thought this had pockets on the back, so I wasted some fabric there. I also wasted some fabric on something else, and I can't remember because I got a little bit confused with which of the pattern pieces were. That's my error, nothing to do with Mason Fave. So I actually ended up running out of fabric, and I actually used a sort of small tartan check that I had in my stash just to finish a couple of things. But and that I will say, I think that's really cool of Mason Fave, is that they've actually, when you're going for the fabric requirements, so for a size 44 with the dress here, let me just have a look here, supplies of 140 centimetres. So size 42 to 44 is 200 centimetres or 2 metres of fabric. I was provided with 2 metres of fabric, and I had almost nothing left. For me, that is a brilliant way to be. I don't want to have remnants in my lying around that are not quite enough to do anything with. So that's fantastic. But for me, because I'd made some errors, I then had to. In fact, I think you'll see on the lapel here, I actually used some denim on the back, but you can't see them because they're hidden underneath. So I made some errors in cutting out. Don't really know why I'm telling you that, to be honest, but I am. So, but I do think it's really cool that they aren't giving you too much fabric recommendations, so you can invest in a really good quality fabric. This fabric comes from Mason Fave. It's what they call their cotton sateen, and the pattern recommends a fabric with a slight stretch. It says between 2 to 3% elastane, and that just gives it that wearing ease that would be great in a jumpsuit in particular. Just couldn't be happier. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the pictures there. I didn't wear this to the knitting and stitching show where I saw and met the lovely Mason Fave team. I was wearing this, which is the Soliflore dress, and I know you have seen a number of pictures of me in this. I'm never going to tire of sharing just how brilliant these patterns are. Just in case you haven't seen it, I'm really sorry if you have 1,000 times. This is the Soliflore dress. Now, when I saw the pattern cover for this, I thought this was going to be jersey, just because, you know, you get like, it looks like it's a polo neck and things like that. It is not a polo neck. It is a absolutely divine funnel neck that is created with an asymmetric collar line here. Now this can be worn up or down, so I'll pop some photos in there so that you can see the variation. I did wear this to the knitting stitching show. Let me pop some photos in of that. Absolutely loved wearing it, and thank you if you came and said hello to me and my friends whilst we were in the knitting and stitching show. We are just ordinary people sharing what we love, and I know it takes probably a little bit of courage to come up and say hello to a stranger, but please, if you ever do see me out and about, and randomly people do see me in Tesco's and things and say, oh, you're so mad, I'm just here to share what I do with you. I'm just me, being me, loving what I do. So thank you if you came over and said hello. I had the most wonderful day at the knitting and stitching show, meeting the Mason Fave team, but also meeting a wonderful group of amazing sewists. So me and Michelle from Sewing Bunny, we've travelled up together. Turns out our train is on the same, or can be on the same train line. Excuse me a second. Up to London. So that was just dreamy. I absolutely adore Michelle. And then we met a whole beautiful raft of people. and the picture will do it better than I can. But Katie from Katie Sews, Claire from Stitch Hem Sew, Adele from Sew for Serenity, Jenny from One Girl and Her Machines, oh goodness, Amelia, two Amelias in fact, which I forget the name of their channels right now, which is What Amelia Sews I think, and also I can't remember the other Amelia's channel, which is fantastic. And then we met. Oh my goodness, let me put the picture up, and then remind myself of some of the names. But then we went out for dinner as well, and we had Anna from You Got Me in Stitches there. Who else haven't I mentioned? The lovely Angela from Devon, Thread Tales. She was with us. Helen from Stitch Rich Repeats. Almost, I'm going around the table to see who I've missed out. Sowerton. Oh my goodness, that's gone out of my head. I'm sorry that I was so excited that I can't remember everybody's names, but it was just a dreamy day of meeting just wonderful people. My brain is literally going, who was sitting opposite me? Who have I missed? And I'm bound to have missed someone. Of course, Sarah from What Sarah Styles. I'm going to be talking away, and then I'm going to be putting names in because my brain's going to come up with the right names at the right time. Served me right for not looking at the picture and remembering the names before I started talking. But I don't script these discussions. This is just me being me. But going back to the Mason Fave for just a moment, I thoroughly enjoyed meeting them, and I got to meet actually one of the other ambassadors as well, and lovely Rosa from Vipere Sews. I'll put her details on the screen and leave a link to her channel down below. Such a talented seamstress. I didn't see Brogan from the Crafty Pie. She was there. She was also decked out in Mason Fave. So what a lovely group of sewers all together. You will have seen this before, but I just wanted to say thank you for all the feedback on this lovely Soliflore dress as well. Again, you've got the asymmetric shoulder there. And the thing I was going to say, which is why I've picked this one back up again, is I got some lovely feedback in that it was ironic actually, because we were all on the Mason Fave stand, we were all wearing the Soliflore dress. I didn't know what they were going to be wearing. That happened to be what I'd made at the time, and they all had their collar up, and I just prefer, on me personally, the collar down. And I got so much feedback on the day of how different that made the dress look, and actually quite a few people were inspired by that. So isn't it lovely? Different shapes, sizes, wearing, etc. I think that's the point of YouTube channels. I think it's the point of having lots of people as ambassadors wearing things in different ways. Just lovely. Yeah, really enjoyed that. Absolutely amazing. And the Mason Fave team actually were kind enough to provide to me. I've got a number of projects on the go from them at the moment, and they were kind enough to provide me with another project. So I've got the Tigris dress, Tigris coat rather, so it's in process. I haven't cut that out yet, but that's an amazing trench coat. But this dress, which is the Atlas blouse and dress, I happened to see on the day of the Knitting and Stitching show, Emile had done a blog post about a dress like of this in a beautiful red fabric, which I put the photo of here for inspiration. Now sadly they had run out of the red dress, the red fabric, but they provided me with this on the day. It's got an ecru background with a beautiful green leopard spot in it. They also gave me some buttons, and in my bringing all this together this morning, I can't find the buttons for love nor money, but they have provided me with the most beautiful little green buttons that are going to go down the front of this dress. This is actually, you can make this as a blouse or a dress. I love that about the Mason Fave. So, you know, you really get a lot of versatility with their patterns. So the Soliflore again is a blouse or a dress. The Vipere is a dress or a jumpsuit. The Tigris coat that I'm making can be long or short, have a vent or not a vent, and then obviously this dress is a dress or a blouse. I think that is absolutely fantastic. So I cannot wait to make that and add that into my growing Mason Fave collection. So at this point I'm thinking, do I make this video into 2 videos because I'm into 19 minutes already, or do I share with you the purchases I made at the knitting and stitching show? And I'm thinking I'm going to tell you about the knitting and stitching show purchases as well. I do hope that's okay. Let me just take another sip of tea. Hi everybody, it's Cara here. I'm just slicing in just a few moments of time to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, and that is the Serious Lights. I've got the Serious Lights here behind me. I've had them for over a year and they genuinely have made all the difference to my sewing. Now, here we are now in November. The clocks have gone back and light therefore is different, and even though I've got daylight, it's about 12 o'clock right now, but it's a Sunday, it's raining on and off, and I am using these lights during the day to help with my sewing. I genuinely can't believe how much difference they've made to my sewing. Yeah, it is a little bit gloomy here, and I hope you can see there just how much difference that is making to my sewing space. These are the only lights that replicate the daylight wavelength technology, so basically replicating sunlight, which is fantastic, and are making all the difference and extending my sewing opportunity through winter, which is fantastic. I do have an offer that offers you £100 off the high definition light range, and the code I've got is SR448, which I'll pop along the screen here now. So please head over to the Serious Lights range, where they will make all the difference to your sewing. So you get £100 off your light plus free delivery with the offer code that I've just given you there. Genuinely, it's a game changer for me, and I'm absolutely delighted to have these lights in my life. Let's get back to the video. And we had such a great time. It was very, very busy. And we sort of split off into sort of splinter groups every now and again, which is just lovely because we sort of parted and then came together. At one point we sat and had lunch. It is such a busy place and there was nowhere to sit, so we're quite often sitting on the floor having our lunch and things. But I was more than happy to suddenly meet up with a person that I've never met in real life before, but we all got on like a house on fire. So thank you so much to the lovely ladies. It is a day that I will treasure forever. But purchases, let's have a look. What did I have? So I don't know about you, but I get a pattern stuck in my mind, especially if I'm surrounded by fabric. But as you know, I always buy my fabric in conjunction with a make, so that I haven't got fabric languishing in my stash. And the particular pattern that I had in mind, particularly inspired by Sarah from What Sarah Styles, and also from Michelle from Sewing Bunny, and I'll put her photo in here as well, because she was actually wearing the Vienne dress by Size Me Sewing on the day of the knitting and stitching show. And when I saw this fabric, I just couldn't resist. This is actually a cotton twill. This was from Roy's Fabric World, and it was lovely because the girls had just come back from the dressmakers ball and he remembered them all. I wasn't there when they were all meeting up, but I said to him, have you seen the girls from this? And he's like, oh yeah, no, they just left, because that was one of the times where we'd split away from each other. But I think that is going to make the most sensational sort of winter weight Vienne dress. And I've actually got the Vienne dress cut out in the zebra fabric that I bought in France, so that is one of my next projects. I was actually pretty good, to be honest. The other fabrics I bought actually all came from Rainbow Fabrics, and they are all remnants. So they had sort of remnant bins. There was less winter weight fabric on the Rainbow Fabrics stand than I was expecting. I thought there would be lots of jerseys, sort of I don't know, coating fabrics, etc. Actually, it was all quite summer weight, so I sort of had to be a little bit selective in what I was purchasing. But the remnant bins were £4 a metre, and they were sort of various lengths. And I picked up 3 pieces of fabric from the remnant bins. I got this lovely. This is a bit more of a lightweight. Sort of crepe fabric. It's got a sort of a texture to it, but just black with these lovely blue stars on it. I had already been to the Mason Fave stand, and I then had the Atlas dress with the lovely pleats in mind. I hope that comes up okay, but that's black, but it's got a lovely jacquard sort of leopard print on it, and I thought that would make a lovely atlas dress for the Christmas season. So it's actually quite, looks actually quite fancy. So I thought that would be really nice. So I'm going to make an atlas dress out of that. And then a blouse for the summer, well, sorry, fabric for next summer really. And again, that's got, I don't know if you can see that, it's actually got like a, I hope that's coming up okay. It's got also got a jacquard sort of diamond effect on it, and for £4 a metre I couldn't really resist. Don't really have a lot of white blouses. I made the Donny shirt in white linen. This is actually cream, to be fair. I think I've just said white, but it's actually cream. But I thought that would make a really lovely blouse for next year, or dress actually. But I haven't. I think it's quite, yeah, it's quite sheer, so probably not a dress. But I don't pick up cream fabric very often, but with the changing colour of my hair, which has taken on a life of its own, it does need a cut actually at the minute. It's the longest it's been in a long time, but I'm going to keep it long actually. Well, long, short isn't it, but long, short. But I'm really enjoying this style, and having it sort of this colour, I think cream actually works okay with me. For me now, whereas in the past it kind of didn't. The other fabric I bought, and is Sarah from So Sarah Style. She was a bit of an enabler, or enabling each other, which is a polite way of saying we shopped a lot. I'll put the picture of us two together, and we actually bought this fabric together. This is a sort of a sorry. She bought, or I spotted for her something that I thought would really suit her, which is a sort of like a green and cream check. And this, at the time, I was standing with her and saw this. It's just like a sort of a cardigan weight fabric. It might be wool because it's actually smells like wool, and it's got this lovely variation of colours. And obviously, oh, excuse me, sorry, just hit my back then. With my lovely Soliflore, I was kind of on the hunt for a cardigan weight fabric that I can make with this. And then the lovely Sarah mentioned she had made the Luts cardigan by Fibre Mood. So she showed me some pictures on her phone. So I sought out the pattern when I got home, which is this one. So this is obviously in my file already. And it's just a really simple sort of cardigan with really clever integrated pockets in it. And I just couldn't help myself. I actually have, because I've only just done an autumn plan sewing, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you over the next few weeks, because I nearly made everything that I spoke about in that video. But this pattern, my tea, just went straight to the top of the list, and I made the Lutz cardigan. There's a big lovely pocket there. Let me put some photos in of that now. Literally washed it, made it within the week, I think, and have worn this on repeat. It's a curious pattern, really, really simple, because the pattern actually incorporates the pocket pieces. I can't really show you that. However, a word of caution, I made the cardigan, put it on, and I hadn't had a chance to watch Sarah's review, because if I had, I would know that it is incredibly long, and bizarrely, the pockets came to my thighs, like mid-thigh. I'm like, my arms, I couldn't even get my hands in the pockets. It was very strange. So I ended up taking out this much of the length of the cardigan, the top half of the cardigan, in order to be able to get my hands into the pockets. So word of caution on that. So obviously I had to take that off the front and the back in order for it to all work. But I'll pop the photos in there. I think I've got a picture of me in my dress with the Soliflore dress with it, but I've worn it so many times, and I've got so many things to share with you. It's likely to pop up in a picture several times over the coming weeks. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's half an hour of a lot of talking, a lot of ideas, inspiration, and just friendship actually, which is just the dreamiest part of being part of such a lovely community. So I think my purchases were quite sensible. I think I spent in the region of about £50 to £60, which I think is not too bad actually, considering how much fabric I got. I think that was everything. I say that because I've made so many things recently that likely a piece of fabric has snuck itself into an actual garment instead. I'm a bit nasal, so sorry about that if you've heard me sort of doing bits and pieces. So Oh, I just love keeping in touch with you all. So please, if you're new around here, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And don't forget to comment because I genuinely do respond to every comment. I'd love to hear what you think about my sewing. I know I'm mad. I am, in fact, so mad. That is the point. But stay safe and well, everybody. Coming up is more of what I've been up to over the coming weeks. I cannot wait to share that with you. So stay tuned.